Welcome back, ladies and gents, and we're here for another video today. And today I just felt it on my heart and on my mindset, especially since we're all in quarantine. I was thinking a little bit about high school. How were you treated in high school? What group did you belong to? How did you fit in? I want to hear it. Just tell me about your high school experience. And while you're kind of gathering your details about your experience, I want to tell you a little bit about mine. So, for those of you who do not know, I attended Winona High School from 2008 till 2012. And I'm not one of those guys who is very outgoing. I'm still not really like that to this day. Have a very shy, calm, quiet type of mindset. However, if I get to know you, if we're friends, I'm one of the loudest people in the room. Confidence is on a completely different level. I mean, I'm 26 years old now, been years since high school. But my experience at Winona wasn't really bad. I was quiet, of course. So, of course, we talking we're talking 2008. See, back in 2008, West End High School was just closing, and most of my family went to West End, so I was kind of like a legacy. I was going to be just another member of the family to go to West End. Well, West End was actually demolished in 2007, I believe. So that last year, where I was about to be eligible for high school, that's when they knocked it down. So I had to either go to Winona or Parker. Winona was just much closer because I lived in the West End, so we popped up at Winona. I didn't really belong to any particular group, and much like any freshman, I tried my best to find a group to fit in with. I did that a lot my ninth grade year, which included me trying out for football. I went to summer camp, met some of the interesting guys there. I met some of the standout athletes and musicians and stuff, and kind of, met some of those guys. Some guys were pretty cool. They all just kind of wanted the same thing. They just want to play sports, get girls, crack jokes, rap, all the good stuff. That didn't really work out as much. Not because I'm not athletically inclined, because I'm actually a superior athlete, just because. But football just wasn't for me. You don't want to ever start something like football too late. I finally decided, I was gonna try football for the first time, and I hated it. I did like lifting weights and exercising, but going out there to that field, having Coach Cheatham call us ducks and shit, wasn't for me. So I figured, hey, at some point, let me try the band. One of my best friends was kind of drifting towards the band, so I was like, okay, well, let me see what all this band hype is about. I had some experience playing the trumpet, but this was like back in middle school, like sixth grade of middle school, so not a lot of instrument exposure there either. So I went and talked to the band director. He was pretty much saying that they didn't have any more instruments. He said that I have my own trumpet, and I was like, no, most people don't have a fucking trumpet just laying around in their closet. And he was like, well, I'll tell you what, buy your own trumpet, come on in. So I researched how much a trumpet costs, and I was like, okay, I can't afford a trumpet. So that shit was dead. So I kind of just went the rest of that year kind of not belonging to any subcategory. Very quiet. I wasn't bullied or anything like that. Like, if you're in a black school, you're going to be rushed or cracked on at some point. It happens to the best of us. But as far as like people physically putting their hands on me, pushing me around, beating me up, that never happened. I would never allow that to happen. I grew up in West End. I was fighting every other day for fun. It just wasn't going to happen. But I got rushed on a couple of times because of my ears. But that was mostly it. You didn't really have a lot of ammunition to throw at me. I was quiet. People didn't know much of anything about me. You couldn't really say shit except for how I looked. I didn't look raggedy. My clothes were clean. I had decent shoes. My haircut was, pretty nice. You can't really say shit except for my ears. And that was just that. So I took some abuse from that maybe a couple of times that freshman year. And then the best thing that happened to me was four guys, myself included, we decided that we were going to start our own high school fraternity. And that's what I got into. I got into fraternities type stuff, start stepping, going to high school frat parties, went to a bunch of PKS parties and stuff like that. And that was kind of my life for the rest of high school, really. I met my high school sweetheart, I think in 2010 as well, so I would have been a sophomore. Met her and pretty much was on lockdown in high school with that. And it was all cool. I will say, after I got together with my high school sweetheart, I didn't have like any problems beforehand, like with any guys trying to fight me. But after I got a girlfriend, so many issues arose. It was like every other week there was an issue of me almost having to fight somebody because they were being disrespectful and pride and stuff. It was just pretty stupid. I do remember as well, I did not get the pleasure of enjoying any homecoming events because every year, her name was Miss Hunter at the time being. I can't remember what her last name is now. But during homecoming, people do stupid stuff. It's homecoming. And one of the things that are traditional in black high schools is fighting. So it's homecoming week. People are going to fight. And every single year, for 4 years, she canceled every single homecoming festivity we had. So I never got the experience of any homecoming events whatsoever. I don't know what it is. I did go to prom. I went to my senior prom, which was kind of fun. Me and my best friend, we took our dates and we had a good time. He almost got us killed, I think, that night driving, but that's another story. But we had a great time, man. So I learned some cool stuff in high school. I remember one of my favorite teachers passed away. Mr. Miller died. That hit me hard because I took his class maybe 3 or 4 times. That sucked. And went to his funeral. It was actually the very first funeral that made me sad. So I went all the way up until, this might have been my junior year when Mr. Miller passed away. That was the first funeral that made me sad. I've been to other funerals before with family members, but they were like distant people who I didn't know. It was like your great great aunt died from diabetes or something. Like, I never cried or got sad, but his was the first one that really hit me. And we're gonna talk about the coolest teacher. I got two people that instantly come to mind. Actually, maybe three. Mr. James was the coolest teacher. He taught us welding. Everyone wanted to go to Mr. James' class. He was so cool, real wise too. We used to always just sit down and talk to us guys about his life and our life and stuff like that. And it was like really the only trade for guys that we know was offering. So I loved to weld. It was great time. Second, Miss Pilgrim is our culinary teacher. She was the nicest woman on earth. Effective. All the students loved her. No one disrespected her either. Like, she was just too nice to be disrespected. Third, I won't say he was necessarily uncool. This dude was just crazy, and that is Mr. McCullum. If you ever took Mr. McCullum, he would call your mama a fat hoe and threaten to fail you. It was hilarious. I enjoyed my time in his classroom as well. Looking back on it, do I have any regrets from high school? Maybe. Sure. I wish I probably would have been maybe a tad bit more social, but everything worked out great for me, man. High school went by like that. I got my degree and I got the hell on. So I can't sit back and say I miss high school. The only thing I miss about high school, I miss hanging around my best friend Najee and all those times that we had together. I really wish I would have cherished those moments. I had no idea that our time together was going to be cut short, but that's just life in general. That's kind of all I have about high school. Nothing too crazy happened. Like I said, I was quiet to myself. I just sat around watching other people talking and fighting and stuff. Kind of the same thing I do now, just watching people. So Let me know how your high school experience was, guys. What did you experience? Also, big shout out to my alma mater, Miles College, where I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice. So, um, I think that's all we have this video. And I'm gonna be trying to post a little bit more since we're in quarantine. Um, I may that'll be my next video. We're gonna talk about our routines and stuff during quarantine. How's it affecting you guys? Thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Peace out.